it tipped, and guess where it goes? Could be it. There it is! What a way to go, Mike! And he wants out. 20,000.
An incredible moment in basketball history. On this date in 1993, MJ accomplished something pretty special, becoming the second youngest player to reach the 20,000 point mark, doing it in just 650 games. Chicago historian and author of How the GOAT Was Built and Chicago sports historian Jack Silverstein joins me now. Jack, thanks for coming on the program.
Yeah, thanks, John. Thanks
When
for
you were
having me.
watching that highlight, you said, oh, what a deep cut there, because there really are so many highlights to choose from.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a funny little moment. The Bulls were leading that game. They were blowing out Milwaukee. Jordan came into this game needing 35 points to reach 20,000. Their next game was in Philadelphia. He wanted to do this in Chicago. So the Bulls are blowing out the Bucks, and Phil sends Jordan back in. And if you saw the lineup that he's with, it's him and Will Perdue, and three guys Chicagoans have probably forgotten about: Trent Tucker,
No idea.
Rodney McRae,
Nope.
Corey Williams, who got the assist.
No idea.
MJ hits 2 threes. He gets a 3 to put him to 3 away. He gets another 3 to bag the 20,000. And the irony or oddity is that the next game they were playing in Philadelphia, where Jordan had scored his 5,000th point, his 10,000th point,
Oh my
and his
gosh.
15,000th point.
So he could have done it.
And he decided he wanted to do it in Chicago in front of the home fans. Second fastest player ever to 20,000 after Wilt Chamberlain, who did it in 499 games because he's Wilt.
Which is incredible. You're
Yep.
watching these footage, and I can see you just being excited by looking at it. And I was reading an old Twitter thread you did, kind of ranking 10 things that kind of make Michael Jordan the GOAT. And what I liked about it wasn't just like the top 10 plays. People have done the top 10, over ELO and Utah 96 and whatever the case may be. But you have a lot of really interesting reasons why you think that Michael Jordan is the GOAT that go deeper than just the moments.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I think that GOAT is so subjective. I don't think there's any real reason to have it other than to have an opinion and have a debate. I think the beauty of basketball it is 5 people out there together. When I think about the GOAT, I think about which 5 players would I want to see play together, who would do the best. But whenever I make that a list and whenever I work it out, Jordan is the first guy.
Yeah.
And then Bill Russell. And then I would probably want Kareem at center, and then I would want LeBron at either point or 3, and Magic or Bird at the other one.
So you build a GOAT team.
I build a GOAT team. But
A
you know,
herd of goats
a herd
together,
of goats.
yes.
But then there's Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah, right.
If you were around and you watched Wilt Chamberlain, I could totally see why you would say greatest ever. For his first 6 seasons, he averaged 40 points a game. He had a season where he averaged more minutes per game than there are in a game. It's 48 minutes in a game.
That's incredible.
In 1962, he averaged 48.5 minutes.
Wow. You're a Chicago guy, grew up in the area, so obviously the 90s Bulls are quintessential to who you are. Is that how you, got hooked by not only Jordan, but by basketball and becoming a historian in this way?
Yes, absolutely. So the Bulls were founded in 1966. My parents were already in high school. My dad was really a Blackhawks guy because they won in 61.
Yep.
I wasn't as much into hockey. Jordan comes along. He was drafted the same year that we moved back to the city because we were on the East Coast. And so it all kind of fit for me. The Bulls were my first heartbreak. They were my first introduction to sort of national spectacle. They were my first entree into pop culture in a lot of respects. And certainly we had Walter, and we had the '85 Bears. So Jordan was the first person who felt like he was mine, as opposed to someone who was already here.
Let's talk about really quickly. I just love that you broke this down for us. The idea that he left basketball for a couple years to try baseball, and there's a lot of conspiracies around maybe the really reasons why he did it. There's not much evidence of any of the betting, all that sort of stuff. But everyone's like, oh, he failed at baseball. But I think you point out such great things that also showed just how good of an athlete he really was.
Michael Jordan hadn't faced pitching since he was 18 years old. He was 31, and he hit 202. And people like to say, he failed, he hit 202. He hit 202.
Yes.
He had 2 hits of every 10. And his batting average was increasing as the season went along. Then he went to the Arizona Fall League. He hit 252. That was a league where it was like a step toward AAA. Nomar Garciaparra was one of his teammates before going to the Red Sox. So Jordan was incredible.
Yeah.
And he grinded. He played 125 games, I think. He was the only player over 30 who hit 100 games.
And you talk about his baseball in your book about that we mentioned about the GOAT. You're writing another book, right?
Yes.
The definitive look at the rings, right?
Yes, 6 rings. It is going to be due out 2021 for the 30th anniversary of the first championship. It's going to be, if you've read my work, you know sort of what it's going to be, but it's also going to be a very Chicago book because the Dynasty Bulls were global, but they were also hyper local. You know, everybody, your uncle sold a car to Bill Wennington,
Yes.
or you know, Steve Kerr came to your school to speak, or you used to hoop somewhere and MJ showed up for a pickup game,
or you went
know,
to the camp that all the kids would go to.
You went to the camp,
yeah, exactly.
or you were the police officer who didn't know that Bobby Hansen was Bobby Hansen at Grant Park, or you installed some of the hoops for Shoot the Bull. All of these stories. So there's actually an email address, 6 rings book. There it is, 6ringsbook@gmail.com.
You look really cool in that photo, by the way.
That's actually how I always dress. People think that's a look, and then they see me,
Jack,
and that's
we're
just my gear.
We're doing a shallow dive here. We can go a lot deeper, but you'll come back, right?
Absolutely.
We'll talk more Bulls.
Thanks, John.
All right, so much. Okay.